What's going on, guys? Today we're working on this OWC SSD. It has a 2260 silicone motion controller for PCI Express NVMe devices. Has 4 chips on it, 500 gigs each. It's a 2 terabyte unit. If the problem is related to the memory, the only way to recover the data would be through help of PC3000. So far, to this date, I have not been able to find a solution that works for this device, even though this controller is on a supported list. Technically it should be, but something isn't going right with the rebuild process. Loader doesn't upload properly, and we're not able to build the translation. I think that there's a small chance that something on the board could still be damaged, especially with a previous attempt by a data recovery company that worked on it. Has already been done. We don't know what they've done. We don't know how that affected the device. So we need to kind of take all these steps just to rule them out and exclude them from list of possibilities. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through the journey of how I deal with situations like this. And if we still end up with non-working device at the end of the video, well, this device is going to go back to the client. If we get it to work, great. Before we start, guys, hit the like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm. It helps to boost these videos up and get more people to watch them. I would really appreciate it, and enjoy the show. It's got this MacBook style interface. There are some sounds that I hear coming from the unit that are not normal, I would say. Usually I hear these sounds from like failed coils and things like that. I just recently did a swap on the SM2260, similar setup, different type of SSD. And the NAND swapped out fine, gave me full access. So I'm thinking if there's anything wrong with the board or a circuit, this should work just as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and prepare everything, remove these 4 memory chips and have them swapped over. So the first things first, we're gonna preheat this thing a little bit and pull the sticker, mark everything, and get it ready to go. So this tool will be used to kind of like lift the chip up. It's got a really fine blade to act as a spatula and carefully pry the chip up. The board is very thick. It's both components are on both sides, so alright, both chips are out. Let's clean the area and prepare the pads for the swap. So I'm just adding regular leaded solder in there so that the temperature comes down during reflow. Now I wouldn't really try this if there was no extra symptoms. Like, from everything I can tell, the device does go into a safe mode and it's communicating, but something tells me that the initial noise that the device is producing has something to do with the failed circuit. And I tried to figure out what that would have been related to, but I can't find it. The temperatures don't look any different. under the heat camera than what they do on a regular device, working device. So nothing really strikes me as wrong. I checked all the capacitors, they all seem to be good. The only thing is that this has been sent to Drive Savers before I received it. The unit has been worked on before and it had been heated before. So if something got shorted, and this is a sandwich controller. If you see on the split there, it's a 2-level controller. There's a top segment and the bottom segment to it. So if something got shorted in there, I mean, due to them flowing it, I mean, it could be the reason why it's not working. Alright, this is locked in, and same way we'll just have it pulled, especially for SSDs like this one, where it could really take a long time to remove the chip. $415 seems to be a good number. Let's clean up the pads. I'll test it before I fire up the unit. This should be coming up as a SM2260 for the ID now of the unit for the model. That's the controller's safe mode ID. So when we power up the device, we get 600 milliamps consumption. That's what my donor used to do also. So if we load up Silicon Motion utility, it gets hung up on busy. It doesn't go further and it won't get recognized. We have 2 of these. If we jam them and power on the unit, we still get PHY light come up, but if we run the utility now, the utility actually opens up and we can see that it's SM2260. So the ROM mode deactivates connection to the NAND, and it allows us to start the utility this way. Some of the information will be picked up about the device. The first loader does not work, the second loader seems to be working, but I'm not sure how compatible that is. We can run some tests on the NAND chips. We can get memory chips test done. So that should bring up the number of chips and number of channels. And up here I see the first kind of red flag for me is that it doesn't know how many chips it has, doesn't know how many channels are involved. That could be due to incompatible loader, or it could be something related to the function of the unit, obviously. Here we've inserted right now our device without NANDs that we prepped, and when I power on this device, you guys see that it will automatically allow us to go into safe mode. We don't need to short anything on it in order to activate the safe mode, and the same SM2260 part number comes up. So let's fire this thing up and remove the sticker first. All right. Alright, that's connected, and we just need a power cable for USB. We see that we get IDs on all 4 chips. We have probably more than that. This might have an 8CE. Let's see if we can change that up in the config. If we go here and select 8 instead of 4, yeah, we get IDs on all 8 banks. If we choose that to be 9, for example, we won't get an ID on the 9th one. Yeah, see, there's no 9 there. So we got 8 banks, 64 gigs each, which is what we should be getting. Go back, config, swap that to 8. So that's chip number 1. Chip number 1 for us is good. Let's go with the chip number 2 now. Chip number 2, we got all 8 banks too. It's the chip number 4 that I'm worried about. Chip number 3. Chip number 3 also passed. All 8 banks recognized. And chip number 4. Yes, so we got all of them. All right, the paste I use is this PPD. It's a 183 degree paste. Grab some of that stuff with the spatula. If the paste is a bit runny at first, I like to dab it into the paper towel to soak some of that wetness up from the flux. That helps with not letting it run too much. To melt that solder, I usually lower it down to 290. Wow, these chips are so thick that their grounds are pretty strong and they hold the chip down well. This one pin didn't mount. I really want to make sure that it gets its spot and doesn't slide over to a neighbor. It's a ground plane, so that ground plane needs to get hot too, right? So it's gonna take a little longer for it. Yeah, so we have a perfectly reballed chip right here. So the pads, the landing pads here on the SSD are for BGA 152. We have BGA 132 chips. So to align them, you gotta aim at like the middle of the circle. And then once the chip starts to flow, it will just perfectly center itself in. The board didn't even get warm yet. Alright, let's do this side and wrap it up. If it doesn't work, everything will go back to its original spot, and that will be it. But if it works, we will have to go into data extractor, clone the unit, and we'll celebrate. Okay, while the board is cooling down, I'll clean up all my tools, put everything away. All right, let's see this. We plug in our device. Power up. We don't get a ready signal. Let's see what happens in the safe mode. Power up. We do get the ID. Consumption drops down properly. Let's see what we can do here. So you can see the memory, you can read the ID of the memory. But essentially it's acting exactly the same. So that's an hour that we're never going to get back, but we can't say we didn't try. So there is a good chance that this thing will eventually become recoverable when utility fully supports this device.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
But until that day, it's gonna have to remain on the shelf as a potential recoverable case. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry I couldn't make this one work, but I did my best, and based on what I can see here, seems like we didn't have a problem with board to start with.